The 7th of December, 1941. The news of the attack on Pearl Harbor shook America to its core. Lytle Adams, a 60-year-old dentist returning from his vacation in New Mexico, hears this news on his car radio. This news had made him extremely angry. As Adams was returning from his vacation, he came across a swarm of bats, and the bats caught his interest quite a bit. With that anger, an idea forms in his mind. What if these bats could be turned into a weapon? Adams's plan was simple, at least on paper. The vast majority of homes in Japanese cities were made of wood and paper. If small, time-set incendiary bombs could be attached to thousands of bats and released over Japan at dawn, the animals would instinctively take shelter in attics and under eaves shortly after. The devices attached to them would explode, starting thousands of fires simultaneously. Instead of a single bomb, an entire city could be reduced to ashes by the power of countless small fires, spreading across a 40-mile radius. It was quite a cruel plan both toward the animals and toward people. He sent this idea to the White House in an official letter. Under normal circumstances, it would only be a matter of time before such a proposal ended up in the trash. But Adams had one advantage: his acquaintance with Eleanor Roosevelt. The letter reached the president's desk directly, without passing through ordinary bureaucratic filters. And hard as it is to believe, Franklin D. Roosevelt approved the project. The American military was now officially working on the bat bomb, but this news would remain hidden from the public. Once things got serious, the team traveled through thousands of caves and mines searching for the most suitable bat species. They slept in cars for days, taking turns driving. In the end, the decision fell on the Mexican free-tailed bat, a small, lightweight, but surprisingly resilient species. A tiny incendiary bomb containing a napalm-like gel was attached to each bat. The idea was that bats which remained motionless in winter, that is, hibernating bats, could be transported this way. They would stay calm in the cold and wake up and fly once released into warming air. In other words, they didn't want to harm the bats. This would be a natural disaster. But there were gulfs between theory and practice. In tests conducted at Muroc Lake, California, 6,000 bats were used. Some never woke from hibernation and fell to the ground, dead. Some woke up but forgot their mission and flew away forever. And then came the project's most ironic moment. At a brand new airbase in Carlsbad, a few bats carrying live bombs were accidentally released. The result? They nearly burned one of their own bases to the ground. The American military ended up firing on its own facility instead of the enemy. In other words, the project failed. Strangely, even this disaster reinforced belief in the project, because what it showed was clear: the weapon worked, it was just hard to control. In a later test, bomb-laden bats managed to largely destroy a mock Japanese village model. The project gradually gained seriousness. Responsibility was transferred from the Navy to the Air Force, and it began to be known by the code name Project X-Ray. So why, after coming this far, was the project never dropped on an actual Japanese city? The answer had to do with timing. By 1944, officials realized the bat bomb would not be ready for deployment in time, that is, before 1945. At the same time, another project, far more secret and with a much larger budget, was approaching its final stages: the Manhattan Project. Once the atomic bomb appeared on the horizon, the Bat Bomb Project, which had lasted 2 years and cost around $2 million, was quietly shelved. Lytle Adams never accepted this decision. Until his death, he argued that the Bat Bomb could have ended the war with far fewer human casualties. In his view, fires breaking out simultaneously at thousands of points could paralyze entire cities without the horrific loss of life brought on by the atomic bomb. Looking back today, what stands before us is a period that truly happened, documented in official records. A period when the American military seriously considered sending winged, furry, tiny creatures into the sky instead of airplanes to bring Japan to its knees. History is sometimes stranger than fiction, and the Bat Bomb is one of its most striking pieces of evidence. If this project had succeeded, if things had gone as they wanted, what would the outcome have been? I'll leave that to you in the comments.